This video is brought to you by Dr. Kristen R. Bromley's Guitar Method Book Series and Online Music Academy.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kristen Bromley. Welcome to my online academy. It's so great to have you joining me here in these online lessons. This is lesson 23 in this series that is all about strumming patterns and strumming principles. In this lesson, we're going to build on what we were doing in the last lesson, wherein I introduced 16th notes into the strumming pattern for 4/4 time. We're going to continue to be in 4/4 time. The strumming pattern that we did in the last lesson is really a typical kind of cool feel groove to have happening in 4/4 time, and the one we're going to work on today is the same sort of thing. So I've got two different patterns. They both kind of have this sort of a feel. So that sort of thing. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Now, we know that there are four things that contribute to a strumming pattern. One is the meter. So we're going to be in 4/4 time, though these could be adapted to 3/4 or some other meter if need be. The same sort of strumming pattern, but the rhythm would need to be changed to meet that, or we'd need to cut off some beats or something to accommodate. So they could be adapted, but we're going to be working in 4/4 time. We know that the rhythm, and we've got some specific rhythms up here on the board. And then we know the strumming direction, and I've got some specific strumming direction explanation up here that I'll go through because it contributes to the exact groove feel that happens, and then how we treat each figure, and we'll look at that a little bit here and there, whether we're letting the chords ring over top of each other as we're strumming, whether we're cutting them off, whether we're palm muting, whether we're doing some sort of slap strumming, whether we're just muting the strings. We're not going to just do a regular old mute in this particular lesson, but I will walk us through a little bit on the palm muting and the slap strumming and that sort of thing, because this strumming pattern really adapts itself well to getting some different options in there. So let's just go ahead and get with it here. So it starts off with 3/8 notes and then 2/16 notes. The second half of the measure is the exact same as the first half of the measure. So we'll just work on half of it because it's the same rhythmic thing and the same strumming thing. So we're going to go down, 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 up. It's as simple as that. 1, 2, 3, 4, and if we wanted to count it as though it was quarter notes and eighth notes. But we got 1, 2, 3, 4, up. 1, 2, 3, 4, up. Down, 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 up. Now, that doesn't create the groove, and we are all about the groove. So we want to have this down, down, down. We're going to put a little bit of an accent where the star is. So down, down, strum harder, down, down, strum harder, down, down, strum harder, down, down, strum harder. So a lot of times when I'm working on strumming patterns, or I come up with some, or they just naturally sort of flow out, a lot of times what I'm hearing is the drum groove inside of my head, inside of my body. I'm just feeling and hearing that, and I think I've mentioned that early on in this series, but feeling that and hearing that is a lot of times where the nuances of these strumming patterns come from that just make all the difference in the groove that we're creating. So down, down, strum it harder, down, 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 up. Sounds just like doom, goom, ka, ticka, doom, goom, ka, ticka, doom. That's kind of where that groove's coming from. So down, 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 up. Once you've got that down, we want to plug it into a chord progression. I've got a basic one up here on the board, easy to work on this with, D, G, A, D. As simple as that. So we know that this happens twice per measure, so we will do one measure per chord, and we'll go 1, a 2, a ready, and thing that I will sometimes do is on this final upstrum, upstrum, I will pick up the chord and then put it back down, so you get this little, creates a little tension that's then resolved as soon as I put the chord back down. Sometimes I will pull my left hand off and it creates that. So that's just an FYI if you like that sound. Sometimes I'm doing that up strum against part of the chord, part of my fingers that finger the chord off, or all of them off, and then when I put it down again, back on the down strum, it creates this little tension release that's kind of cool, I think. So now the groove itself is going to change depending on the tempo, so that's kind of a fifth thing that we could add in as far as if we're talking about how we're creating the groove with these strumming patterns. So it's good to practice this at different tempos. I'm going to take it just a little bit faster now. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and just like that. Now, the second one has a slightly different variation. So either one of these works, and sometimes they're just kind of interchangeable. Sometimes you want to do one versus the other in a particular measure, but you can just go back and forth. But the difference with this second one here is there's a down, up, 4 16th notes and that measure. So you're going to have down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down. And we're still going to accent that one right there that starts on beat 4, so you get the dun dun ticka boom doom ticka ticka boom. So it gets a little bit of a change to it there. Down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, up. If we go ahead and stick that into the chord progression, we have 1, 2, ready, and that is super, super fun. I'm going to take it a little bit faster. So 1, 2, I want to, Now, as I've mentioned, I think in the last lesson, a lot of times we start bringing these 16th notes in. The best grooves is at sort of a medium tempo to a slower tempo. So we get, because we already got some movement having so many 16th notes in there, but sometimes we want it to go fast. So it's good to practice it fast and have that ability. But I'm going to take it just back to the dum-dum. Back to that tempo as we look at a couple ways that we can manipulate these strumming patterns and get some slight variations to it. So we know that how we treat each strummed figure, or if we have a rest, any rhythmic figure, how we're treating those changes the strumming pattern slightly, so we get some different variations. So we're going to look here, instead of just strumming harder on beats 2 and 4, I'm going to add a slap strum. And so the slap strum, it's been a little while, but all I'm doing is I'm strumming while I am slapping the strings with my hand. So it gets a muted sound, but also it's whacking against those frets, so it creates this little bit of percussive sound. So if I was doing just this top one here, I'd have down, down, slap, down, down, slap, and then I got the down, up, down, down. Just like that. I'll do it again, and I'm just doing it on an A chord here. Sound like that. If I take it through the chord progression, we'd have 1, 2, I want to down, down. kind of fun. I can do the same sort of thing with this next one. So 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. Kind of a fun variation. Now, palm muting works really great with this one, especially since it's got so many down strums, and I'm probably going to have to bring my palm mute up, just off. It's going to come off on those up strums, but palm muting, if I were to do this, and I can still do a little bit in that, a little bit of a slap if I want to. Slap my hand on there just a little bit with the palm mute. Maybe not, it's not going to sound as full maybe as when I was doing the full-on chord, but I could do that. Otherwise, I'm still going to have a little bit of an accent there. So it'd sound like 1, a 2, a 1, 2, ready, and... Explain palm mute. We've done it before, but I'm just taking this part of my hand and setting it right on the saddle, and a lot of times I'm bouncing a little bit with my strumming pattern, especially where I'm trying to get these accents, or I want to just sort of control how much I'm letting the strings ring, how long I'm letting them ring, and then I'm definitely bringing it off a little bit on that up strum. So I'll do it again. So you get 1, a 2, a 1, 2, ready, and... fun. I think it's kind of fun. I think it's such a cool groove, and you can actually go back and forth between the palm muting and then the open sound where the chords are ringing over top of each other, which is a bigger, louder sound, and just create some variation in the song. Now, this is a great one to do with power chords. So if I take my D power chord where my index is at the 5th fret, and then I'm going to have the G there at the 3rd fret, and then A. So I just have my 2 fingers. And I can do this open, or I can do it palm muted, but I'm going to start out with it open, and I'm going to strum a little bit harder on those beats 2 and 4. So down. Same sort of thing with this one here. So you'd have 1, a 2, a 1, 2, ready, and... Now, something that I tend to do as I'm doing that, and if you're watching me closely you might notice, is I actually am just taking my hands off on this up strum a little bit. Kind of just goes against the open strings, kind of like I mentioned in first position, sort of gives that tension and release. So with this I can do the palm muting, and it sounds pretty great. So you have 1, a 2, I'll do the top one first, and... the bottom 1, 2, ready, and... just like that. Now, kind of a fun thing to do with this chord progression here is we've been doing everything as though it's written with one measure per chord. If we take and make the G and the A chords share a measure, then it'll change up a little bit. We would use, if we're using this top one, it's not going to matter. We're going to have the first chord on the first half and the second chord on the second half. We're going to do the same thing with this next one, but it changes the strumming pattern slightly for the second chord. But I'll do this with the first one first, just in these power chords. So I'm going to do a measure of D, and then G a half a measure, A a half a measure, and then a measure of D. So you'd have 1, 2, ready, and... So I kind of shrunk it, made a half measure of both of these D's really, or a whole measure of D and then a half of G and a half of A. Now I can do it with that second pattern as well. So 1, 2, I want to, ready, and... And I'll do the palm mute. So, sort of another fun variation. You could do the same sort of thing with bar chords, and you can control how much different things are ringing in different ways. But there's lots of variations as you've been learning throughout the course, hopefully. I hope you're having fun with this. Super fun introduction here with sort of a fun rock pattern that can be done in the acoustic style. It could also be done in rock. It just has that dum-kum, boom, that classic feel from rock music in the drum set. All right, so in the next lesson, we're going to continue to work with 16th notes. Got some more strumming variations for you. It's going to be super fun. It's going to be great. These lessons come out on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Right now, I've got jazz lessons coming out on Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays, jazz guitar lessons. So great things, and there's hundreds of lessons already on the course that have aired, so lots of great lessons for you. Keep at it, keep having fun, take care, and we'll see you again. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. For more in-depth lessons and to progress through a free guitar course, check out my Guitar 101 series on YouTube and my guitar method books, which all come with access to hours of in-depth video lessons. You can find more information about me and my products at kristenbromley.com. Take care.